Way back. You're way back. I like so much bigger than your picture. Way bigger.
Can't help it. Be all right.
Okay, be okay. Okay, we'll give it a minute. It is 4:45.
4:45.
We got a Cali from Hades. We decided we'd do this early because we're tired. Grandbaby's on her way home, and we're tired. He's been working all day in the shop, and we just want to rest this evening. So we thought we'd pop on early and say howdy and give you an idea of some stuff that we're working on. I'm going to give it a minute for everybody to come in because I know this takes... It took about 3 minutes earlier for YouTube to... Hi, Gypsy. It took about 3 minutes earlier for YouTube to notify everybody when I went live earlier just to check in. So I'm not impressed with YouTube's timing right now at all. So we'll just leave it at that. I'm never really impressed with YouTube, to be quite honest.
What are you trying to do?
I am currently fixing to make another rattle. But because this one got an edge like that, I'm not going to attempt to drill because this is a much more brittle horn. So I'm going to glue and then leather wrap because I don't want to break the lamb's horn. This is a little lamb's horn. So, we got Denise with us. We got Gypsy with us. People start popping in now. So I'm going to sit here and work a little bit because poor David's been working himself to death in the first shop this morning, cutting out rounds. Just show him some more rounds. He has actually decided to take up... Let me know those tickets over there in that bag. He's actually decided to... No, in the yellow bag. He's actually decided to make some of the palms bigger and some of the keychains bigger. So we're going to make different sizes. My nose is itching. And there's a whole bag of them in there.
In the bottom.
In the bottom. It's always in the bottom. Nothing's ever easy to get to. So we thought, well, we'll come on here early, say howdy, get our stuff done.
They've been open. No.
And so we can rest for the rest of the evening and make sure that we're focused on checking on the grandbaby when she gets home and keeping in good contact. Thank you. So he's decided to make different sizes of the keychains. We've had a really good response to, he's had a really good response to the keychains.
Let it right there.
And really good response to some other stuff. And so he's decided to change some of the shapes and make them a little bit bigger. And he's got some feedback that he's going with.
I'm not up to a whole lot, Gypsy. I'm pretty tired.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Denise has got us. Denise has got us all the links and stuff going up. Yes, our grandbaby is brand new. She was born Friday morning. So we are brand new grandparents. And if you can't tell by our faces, we feel like brand new grandparents because we're tired. So blessed but tired. It's been a... How does it feel to be a papa, Dave? How's it feel to be a papa?
I can't tell no difference.
He says he's always felt like a grandpa. Cracks me up. Oh, Lord. So he's actually not got to hold her yet because she had to go through all those tests and stuff in the nursery and he had to work. And so he's not got to meet her yet. So he won't be able to get to meet her and hold her for a little while. They're going to take her home and watch her real close and keep her away from germs for about 10 days. Just kind of isolate. And then we get turned loose and be Mimi and Pop from Hades, which is what I'm looking forward to.
Okay.
So David he's been working on a couple things and I've been working on a couple things. We're going to share those real quick and then we'll leave you alone. If anybody has never watched this, you all know me. I'm the loudmouth woman that twangs. This is my husband, Dave. He is a trapper and tanner. And so if you see me making stuff and using his remnants for arts and crafts to keep my motor skills going, this is the guy that does it all. So everything that he traps during snare season and trapping season during the winter, he tans by hand. And I turn the stuff that I beg for remnants or I beg for a pellet or two, I try to turn it into arts and crafts and have fun with it because it's what keeps me sane. So this is what we do. Just rolls those eyes. I know he's gonna be whipped. He's absolutely going, and he knows it because as the first time Haley sat in his lap when she was tiny, she sat in his lap and she patted his belly and she said, "You got a big paw belly," because it's just like her paw. And I thought, great, he's never going to come back and see me. And he just fell in love. He fell in love. I think he fell in love with my kids before he fell in love with me, to be quite honest. So, I think as soon as, but he's never like he got my kids when they were 2.5 and 3.5. It's when he got and adopted my kids. So he's never had a newborn. So this will be his first newborn experience.
Man, a few words.
Yeah, I think he's terrified of a newborn.
Man,
Okay.
a few words.
So what you been working on?
Pretty much the same thing. Just changed the. Thanks, Denise. We just changing the keychains that we've been making. We just changed the size of them a little bit, which you may not be able to tell that, but we thought, here's the Coyote. We thought we'd go just a little bit bigger. I don't have one of the old ones out to compare, but they're just a little bit bigger, a little bit more poofy. We'll see which one does best, and then
That's what we'll stick with.
We'll go from there.
Yep.
That's the. Yeah, I know that. That all come later years. Anyway, that's the Coyote there. And there's the beaver. Actually,
I think the beaver is the prettiest in the bigger size.
Actually, out of all of them,
Yeah.
I think the beavers are the prettiest one. They got a.
But they're the weirdest in the smaller size. You can't tell what they are, but
Yeah,
when they're
but
bigger cut, they look really
They
gorgeous.
got a glow to them. That's from a water animal. They got that sheen on them to protect the water. Keep the. They come out of the water and dry off and then right back in. I mean, that's why that glistens on there like that. And then there's the coon.
The raccoons have so many different patterns.
Yeah, it's just a little bit bigger, but you can see that's some of the darker one. And then I thought I'd go with a no grinner. There's a
It's a saber-tooth speed bump.
Yeah,
Speed
there's
bump. The possum.
that's the possum. It and the coon looks a little bit alike.
Until you see the underside. Look
until
at
you see the
turn them sideways forward.
I know, but see the difference there. And then on the back side,
You can tell the
a
difference.
little bit difference. And this one's a lot more,
Flimsy.
I guess, limber, flimsy, whatever. But anyway, that's going to be we'll be offering 4 now instead of 3. And who knows what all I might come across that I want to
Did you make a little raccoon
make
face for
some
me?
of it.
Is that for
and-
me or for you?
That was, I'd used all of my raccoon pelt, so I had the little
Floppy, thank you. Yes.
had the little
Got a little bandit mask.
face left. So every now and again I'll get these, tan them out. Usually don't keep them too long, but you can see he's pretty floppy.
He's cute, isn't he? He's
So,
cute.
Actually, I have a Coyote too that when I get done with it, I'll probably
I have a coyote face hanging up on the coat rack by the door that I'm trying to
Yeah.
find something to do with.
we'll probably end up taking it somewhere. If not, well, we'll probably put it on Etsy to. Usually these right here, they ain't too expensive. It's just something that I get a hold of from time to time just to keep throwing them away. So
And sometimes I use them on my dream catchers.
sometimes she does use them on Dreamcatcher. Like I said, I've got a real pretty Coyote.
If I had an industrial sewing machine, I'd be making coonskin hats. I really would.
But we'll do something with it here for long. So
Okay, so y'all know that I do mostly stainless jewelry just because it's the easiest for people to afford and it lasts the longest. I have got the cutest little bracelets here. I've got 3 of these that I've ordered. And if you can see, they've got basins for resin. So what I'm going to be doing is taking the tiny little raccoon teeth. And Betty, when I say tiny, I mean the tiny little raccoon teeth. I'm trying to get one in my hand right now.
yeah, I've dropped a few today.
The tiny little raccoon teeth, and I'm going to be putting them in resin in each little basin. And so it's going to be little raccoon teeth bracelets, and they're stainless steel, so they won't tarnish, and they seem to be pretty durable and pretty strong. And they're not going to be super expensive because we don't make things super expensive, but I thought that would be a cute little addition to the jewelry world. Since he's got some other stuff and places he's going, I thought, well, that could be my contribution for all the craft crap that he buys me that I go through. So I'm going to be working on 3 of these to make, and they're going to go to his vendor sales first, but if they do not sell, then we'll be putting them on Etsy. So he's got me a bucket of teeth sanitizing currently. That sounds so morbid. So I can clean them and pick out the smallest ones to use
I've been
for.
a dentist for the last couple hours.
Yeah, he's been a dentist. And then I'm actually thinking, I've got this glued on now, I'm actually thinking about using some of this as rattles hanging off of leather and twine drops on this as well. So I'm going to be putting some gemstones in here and capping that with leather, and I'm going to be wrapping this with leather. But I thought it was cute where the beaver had chewed that into the perfect little holder, so I'm just going to wrap it. So the other ends chewed too. The beaver really chewed this one to death, but I thought that was pretty. The last rattle that I made, just because I wanted to make one because I wasn't allowed to make them when I was little, sold really quickly, really well. And the guy was really impressed with it. So I'm going to do a couple more. And I do have my bison horn beads and my bison bone column beads. And I'm going to be putting real gemstones. Most likely moss agate and tiger's eye in here to rattle. So
Somebody put something about whoever that is.
elk control. Well, I mean, we have to dismember them to make things out of them. But when you live in Appalachia and, I don't really get nasty. Like, I got kind of sassy with someone that sent me a ghost message last night that wished death upon me because he had 3 pet raccoons and he thought I was a horrible person. And I'll just tell you what I think about that. I got very little patience for people that live other lives and don't have patience for people that live legally within the realms of their own states, because we have to pay for hunting license, we have to pay for fur buyer's license, we have to pay for trapping license, we pay for all the mother freaking conservation that keeps these animals safe. And when their population gets so big that they eat the grain stores of farmers, or the predators go after the livestock or the domesticated pets or even children in our area, then yes, it's up to men like my husband to control the population. And the TWRA calls him routinely and goes, hey, Dave, can you focus on this? We've got a problem here. We've got waterways being destroyed here. We've got cattle disappearing here. So it's really ignorance when people get mad at people that live this lifestyle. It's really just ignorance. But the thing is you can fix ignorance because you can go read about it. You can go read about state licensors and state agencies and wildlife regulations. And you can read about people that do this and have done this for hundreds of years and have passed this down. And you can feel that ignorant void in your brain. But if you choose to remain stupid, I got nothing for you. I got nothing for you. I mean, I'm not going to waste my time on you because this is just how we live here. And I understand that people live differently than us because we go to the big city. We see people that live differently than us, and we're like, hey, you got a different life than us. That's cool. I like that. I like that. I like, not like that. But that's okay. You're cool. That's your life. But when you see our life, if you can't do the same, then you need to question why you have such limited scope and why you have such a judgmental foundation, because you really need to talk to your heart. Because this is a huge nation, and this huge nation has a lot of geographical isolated demographics, and you need to respect all of them. And y'all, I ain't playing. I'm Cherokee. I'm Scots, Irish, and Cherokee. And this is what I was taught as a little girl. This is what my great granny preached. This is how I was raised, and this is who I am. And if you don't like me, I got about 140 acres on the backside you can pucker up and suck on. Because that's just where I am. And he knows exactly how loudmouthed I can be. He just lets me do it. So, I got a big man sitting beside me, but I'm the person you will have a problem with. So, but this is really a labor of love for us. These are animals that have to be harvested. They have to be harvested to protect farmers, to protect grain stores, and a lot of the predators to protect livestock and to protect domesticated pets and even children in the area. So when we harvest these animals, we get to know them. We thank them for their sacrifice. We use every bit of them that we can. It is a labor of love. It is a very special process to us. It is something that we do not take lightly. And so when someone comes here and they take it lightly, it upsets me because I don't take it lightly. So I wish everyone would have the same respect that they expect for themselves for other people. It would make me much happier. And I don't care how you live your life as long as you're legal. As long as you're legal. So if you have a pet raccoon and you're legal in your state and you've got all the paperwork, good on you. But when you come here to yell at us, no, we're legal. We do all this legal. We pay all the money. We get all the licenses, and he works his hind end off. And this is a labor of love for our culture and our heritage. So I really got, I just have no F's to give. I just really don't. So, but for me, this is very important stuff. And we're actually, there's a lady in the area that's actually starting to teach a historical Native American course. And if my health will maintain, I'm actually going to go and try to sit in on a few of those and just see how she's teaching, what she's teaching, and see if I can be of any help with any of the products I make. We have had another business reach out. I say we, it's Dave. They've had another business reach out and beg for his products to go in their business to be sold because they are so eye-catching and they are so natural and like 100% dead on how they were made back in the day. So his fur products by hand and stuff like that, they're really beginning to appreciate people that do this the old way by hand, not machine, because all these tanneries that used to be in the Ukraine are down. So fur is now being only done locally in a lot of places. So men that do this by hand are becoming a big commodity again. Because this is not something that a lot of people know how to do. And it's been changed from a hands-on thing to a machine thing over the last couple of centuries. And now it's coming back to, oh crap, we need people to know how to do this by hand. Well, I've got one sitting right here and he's special. So this is
rough. That wood is.
Yeah, that beaver had a big day with that one. But I like it because you can hang on to it. But I'm going to wrap it anyway. It's okay. So this is something that we're passionate about. We've got a lot of businesses that have reached out and begged for the products because they're authentic, they're natural, they're handmade, and they really like that the same man traps the animal, skins the animal, fleshes the animal, uses the animal, creates the tanned pelt, and we do everything. And we try to use every piece of the animal we can because something, that's a sacrifice, and we do not take it lightly. And we're the same way when we harvest an animal for food. We never take it lightly. And we're very picky. Many times we will pass up what other hunters would have loved to have bagged because something, we'd rather have one that eats a little bit better. So you just have to be an ethical person. And ethics are different for everyone, depending on how you're raised, where you are, and how you apply them to your life. I spoke earlier about how people create their boundaries and their judgment and their norms. Go watch the earlier video I did. It'll give you an insight on how you respond, why you respond, and what created your response and how to expand your response. So I preach this all the time, but I am a wealth of knowledge. So if someone comes to me with ignorance, I do not care a bit to get on my soapbox and educate them. And it's not from a place of anger. It's a place of my life is just as valid as yours. So if you're going to tell me my life is not valid, you need to shut up and I'm going to tell you why my life is valid. So I have no problem putting people in their place. None whatsoever. But this is a big job. This is something, the people that did this carved out our nation. And the people that loved the animals that did this were the ones that started conservation and said, hey, stop over harvesting. Hey, start watching numbers. Hey, start watching populations. Hey, don't take all the predators. It was the people that was hands on the animals that said, start taking care of the animals, not the freaking tree huggers. Because they kill millions and millions and millions of the insects and bees that need to pollinate this land so that they can eat their green veggies. They kill way more of the population and the foundation of the pollination of this nation than a man that may harvest 3 or 4 animals to eat, or a man that may harvest 100 furs to keep the predator population down a year. So it's all about knowledge. It's all about understanding the demographic and the geographic location that you're in. And it's all about having a little bit of something between your brains, between your ears and your brain. So between your ears and your brain.
Funny.
So, yeah, this is, and everyone deserves to have a passion in life. my heritage is my passion, and I'm just very lucky that he was raised very much the same way, backwoods, and we know how to do stuff that not many people know how to do. But I tell you what, when the shit hits the fan, if you've sassed me, don't come ask for my help. There will be no quarter given here if you're a butthole. But it's going to be people like us that are going to keep this nation going if it keeps going the way it's going. So, not to pat myself on the back, but the people that live simple, we're not as big of a crunch time as most of y'all, because life is a crunch for us, isn't it? And it doesn't change. We go out in the woods and we feed ourselves and we heat our houses and we grow and we harvest herbs and we harvest fruits and we do it the old way. And if you can find the willingness to learn from people like us, you will get a whole bunch of new knowledge. Look at people that aren't like you and you'll learn stuff. I watch people that aren't like me and I learn a whole bunch too. I just expect the same in return. There's nothing wrong with respect. I don't know why the world is so lacking. Sorry.
Pretty much spot on.
Pretty much spot on. So, but that's what we're doing. The lamb's ears, or the lamb's horn, this will be the first light colored rattle I've ever done. These things are dried, and I would much rather use these for my rattles and Native American stuff, because if I don't purchase them, they get ground up and then meshed into dog chew toys and stuff like that. I tell people all the time, they ask me what is the best thing for my dogs to chew on, because these have sharp spots, these have hard keratin things that can actually damage the digestive system. Sometimes when they'll slide off the bone, they'll have a piece of the bone growth in the inside still with them. It can be damaging to your dog's gums or digestive tract. And I tell people all the time, contact a blacksmith or a farrier. Ask them if they can keep a bucket of horse clippings when they go and reshoe the horses and they take the shoes off and they trim the hoof. Those little rounds of hoof trimmings that look like little horseshoes of just where they basically trim the horse's nails. And that is the most nutritious and natural thing for your dogs to chew on. It will not hurt the digestive system. The blacksmith will make sure that all of the nail comes out because he's required to. And if you can get horse hoof trimmings, that's the best thing that your dog naturally can chew on. And it gives them a lot of nutrients, it helps their digestion, and it doesn't hurt their teeth or gums. So there's another tip from me, because I'm the daughter of a farrier blacksmith. But this is my first light colored rattle, and I'm anxious to see what people think about it, because I've just started making these. And I think I'm going to make another vertebrae ceremonial stick that somebody else can finish if they want to take it into a costume class or into a dancing class. Lots of times the grass dancers and stuff are allowed to have rattles, so I may make a couple and see if somebody else wants to pick those up. But I enjoy this. This is, for us, this is history, and we get to keep it going. So be careful, I don't have it laced on yet. It may go flying.
Nah.
So we have a lot of people that support us. We have so many people that are positive. In our area, we have a lot of positivity because obviously we're in Appalachia, but we actually do get normally about 90% positive reviews from people, because people are starting to gravitate back toward older ways, learning about history, learning about different cultures, learning about natives, and learning about the ceremonies and the way that they lived and the way that they respected nature. So we do get normally more positive stuff. But yeah, yesterday I guess was just hate day, because they kept leaving me ghost messages, so it would show up on my YouTube studio, but they would delete it so I could see it once, but then it was gone. But it would never be in comment form for me to like take a screenshot of, because as soon as I'd click on it, I could get to read about 3/4 of it. It would blip off my YouTube studio. And so, but that's about normal, because I normally get a couple dozen death threats around hunting season every year, because apparently they don't understand that trapping season is a several month long thing and then tanning is all year long. So normally when deer season starts, here come the tree huggers, and I get a lot of really interesting ghost messages on my YouTube studio. I just kind of let it go, because I know it's born out of ignorance. And when they get really hungry, they'll be knocking on my door. So I just kind of let him go, and I'm like, listen, if you want to live in a world where you have absolutely no knowledge of anything other than yourself, but you're a fence post. I'm not going to argue with you. So that's my rant for the day. I've been in a rant for him today.
I'm going back to the shop.
He's going to go back to the first shop. But
If you're going to keep that up.
yeah, I know. I'm gonna chill out and get in a nice mode after that. But
No.
I'm gonna try. But we do have a couple, 3 or 4 more sales coming up. Well, you do
2 for sure, maybe 3.
2 for sure, maybe 3. They moved one, and actually, I think it's going to work better for everybody's schedules. And because they're also having more area stuff that weekend, so there should be more tourism that weekend, which may help. And yeah, whatever that is left over at that point, I think he's probably going to put on Etsy. But we also have some local shops that are begging for his items. So it just depends on where stuff sells best for him and where he's going to put it. But things are starting to work, starting to click for you, aren't they?
So.
He does have his cowhide. He's going to keep that one under wraps until he sees how he does, because that's one of the most difficult things that he has tackled to date. The hide itself weighed how much?
I don't know, probably 60, 70 pounds. But all I wanted to pick up and put in the freezer.
And so we're going to see how that does. That is one of the most difficult things to do by hand. So this is a challenge for him. He's challenging himself. And I'm going to try to take snippets of the progress. I'm not going to show it until I can make a complete video if it ends up well. But he's going to continue to keep trying. But this is his first attempt at a cowhide, and they are very difficult, just because of the cell structure, the coarseness of the hair, and the amount of fleshing and thinning you have to do. It's very difficult to make sure that you have it open and willing for that cell structure to take on the pickling and the tanning. So it's very difficult, and I don't relish the thought of you having to deal with all that, because I hated to flesh hog hides and deer hides that were just very small, and this is going to be a huge cow hide. So I'm kind of glad that my hands can no longer flesh things, because now I don't have to help, but I feel really bad that you're going to have to flesh it all.
No big deal.
So we'll see how that goes.
No big deal.
But that is what's on our radar right now. So let us get to the next 3 vendor sales, and then we may start seeing what is left over, and I'll ask him where he wants to put stuff, whether he wants to sell it locally or if he wants photos taken and put it on Etsy. And I've got 2 dream catchers that I'm in the progress of doing, and then I'll be ready for a new order if anybody wants a dream catcher. Dream catchers are about the only thing I do, honestly, for me. So if you're willing to be open to the dream catcher and the history and stuff, and you want one of those, give me a shout out, and we can talk about that. But that's where we are. I'm excited about where we're going. I'm excited about the responses getting from the community, and I'm excited to see how the cowhide does.
You are.
Even if it is a Hereford.
Oh well.
I mean, Herefords are pretty, but I'd really like one of them speckled Longhorn. Maybe I'll get me a cowhide rug.
I doubt that.
I'm going to end on that note. Y'all have a good evening. I'm going to let him get cleaned up and rest. We'll see you next week.